In this video, we'll be discussing how to subtract two real numbers. Important thing is that when you are subtracting two real numbers, make sure you change the subtraction to adding the negative. So here's the rule right here. If we have a subtraction problem, it's the same as adding the negative. So a minus b is the same as a plus a negative b. And then use the adding rules that we discussed in the adding two real numbers video. Another important thing in subtraction is that to remember, if you are subtracting a negative, that is the same as adding. So if you see that at any point, make sure you take care of that first. Alright, so let's do some examples. Example A, we have negative 6 minus negative 11. Again, first thing I see is that I have subtracting a negative, which is addition. So that, by taking care of that double negative sign, we have taken care of the subtraction. We have changed it into addition. And now I can go back to my addition rules. So we have two numbers that we are adding together of different signs. We are going to keep the sign of a larger absolute value. So that would be the 11. So my answer will be positive. And then because they are different signs, we are going to subtract their absolute values. And again, absolute value of the larger number minus absolute value of the smaller number. So that would give me a final answer of positive 5. So we took care of the double negative, we used the rule, and we have our final answer. If we look at example B, this is a subtraction problem. There are no double negatives to take care of. So we are going to change that to an addition problem. So we change that to negative 2.8 plus negative 6.7. In this case, we are adding together two numbers of the same sign. So we're going to keep that common sign, and then we are going to add together their absolute values. So the absolute value of the larger one plus the absolute value of the smaller one. So add those two, and again, use your calculator if you need to, and that should give you negative 9.5. So that would be our final answer for that problem. Change the problem to addition, use the addition rule, came up with our answer. Let's do a couple of examples with some fractions. Alright, so example C, we have negative 4/3 minus 3/2. So again, change that subtraction to adding the negative. And we will see that we have the same sign in both. I also see that I have different denominators. So again, whenever you have different denominators and you're working with an addition or a subtraction problem, you need a common denominator. So common denominator for this problem will be 6. So I'm going to set that up. First fraction I'll have to multiply by 2, which would give me negative 8/6. Second problem I'll have to multiply by 3, so that would give me negative 9/6. So I now have a common denominator, and I can move forward with my rule. So same sign, keep that sign, and I'm going to add their absolute values. And again, I always add the absolute value of the larger plus the absolute value of the smaller one. So there we go. Final answer would be negative. Not sure if you can see that on the screen. Let me make sure. Let me move it up a little bit. Alright, so there we go. So final answer would be negative 17/6. So that would be my final answer for that problem. Alright, now let's look at example D. Alright, so example D is negative 7/8 minus 5/6. Negative 5/6. Again, we have that double negative. So anytime you see that happening, make sure you change that. Subtracting a negative is adding. So we have our problem here, our addition problem that we need. Again, we need a common denominator, which for this problem would be 24. So first fraction I have to multiply by 3, which would give me negative 21/24. Second fraction I would need to multiply by 4, which would give me 20/24. So now we can go back to our addition rules. Different signs, we're going to keep the sign of the larger absolute value. So that would be here, which is negative, so our answer is going to be negative. And then we are going to subtract their absolute values because we have different signs. We have a negative and a positive. So we're going to do the absolute value of the larger minus absolute value of the smaller amount. So our final answer will be negative 1/24. So hopefully that helps.